Begin in a Tadasana, a standing pose, a foundational pose. Inhale your arms overhead, a gentle back bend. Swan dive down for Uttanasana, the forward fold. Step your left leg back, your right knee is in between the palms of your hands for equestrian pose. Let your right leg come back to meet the left, plank pose. Press into the earth, then lower down. Squeeze the shoulders together. Cobra Pose, Bhujangasana. Tuck your toes, rise up to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Shavasana. Inhale your left leg, step it through in between the palms of your hands, equestrian pose. Lift the chest, gaze over the front of your mat. Let the left leg come back to meet the right. Find plank pose. Slowly lower to the earth, squeezing the elbows together, rising up to Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Slowly walk toes up towards your fingertips. Hang in Uttanasana, the forward fold. Bend your knees, rise up, circle the sun, a gentle back bend. Hands release in front of the heart center, prayer hands. Inhale your arms overhead as you swan dive down. Forward fold, Uttanasana. This time, your left knee is in between the palms of your hand as your right leg releases behind you. The torso straightens for a moment. Move your legs together behind you. Plank pose. Lower to the earth. Squeeze elbows together and rise the torso to Bhujangasana, the Cobra Pose. Tuck toes, lift to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg towards the sky, step it through, equestrian pose. Lift the torso, gaze over the front of your mat. Press into the earth. Move your right leg behind you for plank pose. Slowly lower to the earth. Squeeze elbows together, Cobra Pose. Tuck toes, downward facing dog. Slowly walk to the front of the mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Bend your knees, arms circle the sun, a gentle back bend. Hands release and find their way in front of the heart center, prayer hands. Inhale your arms overhead, swan dive down, Uttanasana, the forward fold. Your right leg is in between your heart center, your left leg is long behind you. Gaze towards the sky. Press into the earth, move your right leg behind you, plank pose. Lower to the earth. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift into Cobra Pose. Feeling the warmth of the sun on your face. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg behind you. Step it through the palms of your hands. Straighten the torso. Again, feel the sun on your face. Press into the earth. Leg releases behind you. Plank pose. Press slowly down into the earth. Shoulder blades squeeze together as you lift up into Cobra. Toes tuck as the body lifts into downward facing dog. And the toes walk slowly up towards the front of the mat. Uttanasana, the forward fold. Circle the sun, a gentle back bend. And hands release in front of the heart center, prayer hands. Prepare for the flow, Sun Salutation again. Begin in Tadasana, mountain pose. Let the arms circle the sun, find a gentle back bend. Swan dive down, Uttanasana, the forward fold. Your left leg moves behind you. Your right leg is in between the palms of your hands. Step your right leg back, Plank pose. Gaze over the front of your mat. Slowly lower down to the mat. Squeeze elbows together, shoulder blades together. Cobra pose. Tuck toes and lift into Adho Mukha Shavasana. Inhale your left leg behind you as you step it through in between the palms of your hands. Torso straightens and then hands press into the earth. Left leg comes back behind you. Plank pose. Slowly move towards the earth. Elbows come together. Torso rises. Cobra pose. Toes tuck. Body lifts into Adho Mukha Shavasana. Toes walk towards the front of the mat to meet the fingertips. Hang in forward fold. Circle the sun. A gentle back bend. Hands release in front of the heart center. Prayer hands. Inhale your arms overhead and swan dive down. Uttanasana, the forward fold. Step your right leg back. Your left leg is in between the palms of your hands. The left leg meets the right and you find plank pose. Lower to the earth. Cobra pose. Toes tuck, Adho Mukha Shavasana. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Step it through towards the front of the mat. Straighten the torso, equestrian pose. Right leg comes back to meet left, plank pose. Lower to the earth. Rise the torso, Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Toes tuck, downward facing dog. Toes walk towards the front of the mat. Hang in Uttanasana, the forward fold. Bend the knees, circle the sun, find a gentle back bend as the sun shines on your face and the hands move together for prayer hands. Flow in silence for the next few rounds of Sun Salutation. Surya Namaskara. Surya Namaskara, the Sun Salutation. A nice way to begin your day as you honor the energy of the sun, grateful and full of appreciation. Release the left leg behind you. Gaze over the front of your mat. Legs meet together behind you, lower to the earth. Squeeze the elbows together, rise the torso for Bhujangasana, the Cobra Pose. Come up to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Shavasana. Inhale the left leg, step it through, lower to the earth, lengthen the torso as you gaze over the front of your mat. Palms press into the earth, left leg meets right, plank pose. Lower to the earth, Cobra Pose as the chest lifts and rises, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Step up slowly to the front of the mat. Hang in Uttanasana, the forward fold. Bend the knees, circle the sun, a gentle back bend. Hands release in front of the heart center, prayer hands. Inhale the arms overhead as you swan dive down into a forward fold, Uttanasana. Step the right leg back. The left leg steps in between the palms of your hands. The left leg meets the right. Plank pose, energy radiating through the soles of your feet as you lower to the earth, squeezing the elbows together, lifting the torso. Cobra Pose. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg skyward. Step it through between the palms of your hands. Straighten the torso. Feel the warmth of the sun. Move the right leg back to meet the left. Plank pose. Release to the earth. Elbows come together. Torso lifts. Cobra Pose. Toes tuck, Adho Mukha Shavasana. Walk towards the front of your mat. Uttanasana, the forward fold. Bend the knees, circle the sun, a gentle back bend. Hands come around in front of the heart center, prayer hands. Notice and feel. Inhale the arms overhead and swan dive down. Uttanasana. Step your left leg back, right leg between the palms of your hands. Gaze up towards the sun. Open the chest. Right leg meets left, plank pose. Lower to the earth. Press into the earth. Torso and chest lift. Toes tuck, downward facing dog. Left leg inhales towards the sky. Step through equestrian pose. Straighten the torso. Feel the warmth of the sun. Press into the earth. Left meets right. Plank pose. Lower to the earth. Press into the earth. Rise for Bhujangasana, the Cobra Pose. Toes tuck, downward facing dog. Toes slowly walk towards the front of the mat. Uttanasana. Bend the knees, circle the sun for a gentle back bend. Hands release in front of the heart center, prayer hands. Sun Salutations, Surya Namaskara.